Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to have you here for another Cerkl U webinar. We are putting you at the center of our product roadmap. Before we dive into our really awesome content today, I just want to go over some really quick notes just in case. Number one, if you have questions, please feel free to enter them in the little questions pane on the GoToWebinar little chat button in the corner. As a side note, this will be recorded. I know you're going to want to see our beautiful faces again, so perfect. And I will be sending it out in a follow-up email, so be on the lookout for that. If you have any technical difficulties, feel free to jot down that number right here on your screen, and we will go ahead and help you through that. We have people standing by. And last but not least, as always, keep the conversation going. Please add us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the good stuff. Okay. So today I'm really excited. As you guys know, I am the Director of Customer Success here at Cerkl, and next to me is my right-hand woman and one of my besties here at Cerkl, and I'm excited to announce that she has a new title here. So I'll kind of let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what that transition has looked like.
Sure. So for a lot of our longtime Cerkl people, they might have remembered me as the Director of Digital Marketing, but as we get more focused on delivering product experiences that matter to our customers, we decided to kind of slide me into more of a director of product role, which will allow me to get us organized and flowing all in the same direction for what our customers want for the product. So it's a really exciting time, and I think that what we're doing in the next year is really going to please everybody.
Yeah, we're super excited. If you guys are avid Cerkl U webinar attendees, you would have remembered, I think it was 2 webinars ago, we introduced Sam as our lead product designer. So to have Rachel there, we have a kick-ass team that's really ready to help the product grow. So before we kind of hop into what Rachel has been able to do, the process around that, and show you some of the new and upcoming features that we've launched, we want to talk a little bit about how product was made. And you know, at the end of the day, we were all really involved in how the product was made. Yes. as a team. We've been very engaged with how our customers are using it. But this next step to solidify how things are being built moving forward is an exciting thing for us. So in the past, we have done a lot with just being reactive, where we now want to take that next step to be proactive and making sure that the product is being built for our customers, our potential customers, and always providing you guys value, saving you time, and all that fun stuff. So anything else that you want to mention about like how we were kind of in a reactive state versus now a much more proactive state?
Yeah, so we were growing so quickly, and we were seeing a lot of different people begin to use our product in a lot of different industries. So we were trying very hard to make sure that we were keeping our customers happy and engaged, that we were growing our product in a way that made sense, but we weren't really structured yet to be really organized around why and how this will impact the actual work of our day-to-day communicators who work on Cerkl. So now we're like entering a new phase, and we have design now with our lead designer, Sam, who you introduced, I believe, in the last Cerkl U webinar. And then we're adding in more resources in the development team to help us speed up the fixes. So I think our dev to sales ratio is already one of the industry's best, but I think that what you'll see in the next year is a real big commitment to making the Cerkl product better for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's talk about how product has changed and what your role is kind of shaped into and what it's done for our users today and what it will in the future.
Yeah, so like as we've grown, what we're thinking about now all the time is exactly how you use the Cerkl product. So when we begin to think about designing new features or enriching experiences, we're starting with your ideas. We're starting with the things that you tell us about how you use Cerkl and the challenges you try to solve with Cerkl. So all of these things that we're creating start with your ideas. So keep that data flowing to Maddie, keep telling us, keep sharing, we want to know that. Then it goes into a design phase, and that design phase before was done by our engineers who did a wonderful job, but they don't have a big passion for user experience like our lead designer does. So the design phase is going to make Cerkl even more beautiful. Then the next exciting step, and something that you can really get with Maddie about, is being in the inner circle. So when we have something that we want to test out, we're sending that to inner circle members to ask them, what do you think about this? How would you use it? How can we improve this experience? That's another place that we're putting you at the center of these processes. Then it goes into the development, and our oh, your screen share is not on. So we're demonstrating, we have a little flow going on here, and you can't see it. So hopefully you've enjoyed our story so far.
Just looking at our faces.
I know, right? I think, are we good to go now?
Hopefully we get a thumbs up from our awesome.
All right. Okay, well, this might help you
Perfect.
a little bit better. Hey,
Little
I know so many beautiful slides. And this,
darn it.
I know, well, you can, I'm sure you'd be happy to share it.
Yes, absolutely.
So after that, if you're part of our inner circle, we're looking for your feedback about how you would use it, how we can make it better. Then it goes to our development wizards, who are magical people. Developers are amazing.
They have wands and everything.
I mean, it really feels like it sometimes. And they're actually building those solutions, taking what we thought, what we knew, what we designed, and bringing that all together into the actual solution. Then when we send it out, that's another place for your feedback. When we release something now, it's not like we released it and that's the end of the touch with it. We're looking at how we can make the next version of it even better, even more usable, and really, enrich your experience with Cerkl.
Absolutely, and that's kind of where the customer success team is able to facilitate this relationship between everything. As you know, you guys deal with me a lot. It's not too bad. But what we're really trying to do is make sure that our products team has all the questions you're asking. So if I hear more questions, what is that telling us? There's confusion on your point. Which, on your side of things, which is something that we need to be working on. We need to be
articles that Maddie's team creates. We're looking at the analytics behind those as well to determine what features people might be having a little bit more trouble with.
Absolutely.
And that helps us on the other side to know when we're creating a development timeline, what are the things we need to address first? What's the most important? What's the most used? We're looking at the patterns of use to see what page is the most important to use. So I think all of that together makes us an incredibly strong data system.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you find any spelling errors or grammatical errors in the help desk articles, please let me know. There were over 200 of them, so we always try to keep track.
And if you have an idea for one, I'm sure we'd love to hear that as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So now that we've kind of talked about where product was and where we are now, where we're going, we want to hop into the platform and show you around a little bit to show you one of the most recent features that we published. I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week.
So we published last week what we call push to production. We also pushed a smaller one as of yesterday too. Mm-hmm. So, and just to give you guys a little side note, I don't think this is something that I knew, but I think is very valuable. Most software companies have a set schedule as to when they are publishing or releasing software or updates, right? And it's typically maybe twice to 3 times a year. And our team is moving so quickly that we're releasing upwards of 3 to 4 times a month, which is absolutely unheard of. And it's something that we're always
Okay, and I was with another email provider in a previous life. I once asked them for an Instagram button, and they told me that wasn't on their development timeline. And that was a real clue into, one, how far behind they were deep into Instagram years. And two, how slowly their development teams moved. And I really like that we're able to stay agile, mm-hmm. to keep moving towards the bigger goal, to stay organized on the overall vision for the product, but be able to make small incremental changes to get us closer to our goals. I think that the alignment between success, development, product, marketing, and sales is a really beautiful, harmonious relationship that is making our product stronger every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will mention, just on my side of things, because we do have questions asked from clients and prospective clients about a specific feature or functionality. Does it do this, or can you do this? Or I'd like to add a feature request, which again is something that we want you to do. We want to hear from you. But to better help us understand how we can help you reach your goals with a specific feature, if you can provide a little background as to why that's what you want to do, why that piece of functionality is going to help you get to your end goal, it helps us start to analyze on our side of things, how can we do that for you in an even better way? So it allows us to be really creative, and we're a bunch of creative, interesting people who like to really think about how we're going to help you reach your goals in an unconventional way.
And I think to your point about that, that's the exciting part, is that we'll be able to reach back out to you now that we have this new structure in place to say, someone is having this issue, let's talk about how to solve it, and it's not in a vacuum.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that's very important. All right, so what we will go ahead and do at this point is I am going to just share my computer with you. We're going to take our beautiful faces off the camera, hopefully, I think. And that way we can dive in to the actual platform itself and show you some of the new features. We can kind of talk through that.
Sure.
So here, what you have, we released the update of Content Manager. Oh gosh, it feels like 9 years ago, but I'm pretty sure it was only 2 months ago.
I feel like it was the end of October.
Okay, which is insane, but exciting at the same time. Since then, what we've been working on is a new story page. So you guys are familiar with the fact that when you're creating content in Cerkl, that article is going to be published on your Cerkl site. So this has changed a lot, this functionality. It's a lot more flexible. What can you talk about here, and what do you think that the main things are important for them to know about?
Sure. So we listened to the storytellers and the people who work within the Cerkl platform, and what they were telling us is that they wanted more options for the visual telling of their story. So in the actual content manager itself, when people are publishing content, we added some new abilities that they're used to seeing in some of their content management systems they use in other parts of their work. So a new thing that everyone was very excited about is fonts. So we added a few font options, and how we chose these is these are the most common web-safe fonts available, which is really fantastic. So even if you have, let's say, a fancy Google font on your site, it's going to fall back to one of these. So we felt like it was a very safe place for you to experiment with the fonts and be able to tell your story in a way that makes more sense. We also added some options with how the words are spaced, the alignment. Our bulleting has gotten a lot more attractive, which I like. You can also add pictures, you can add videos, you can add PDFs, and that's a little bit more spelled out this way. Those are icons that you're used to seeing. It's all open, so they can, before it was a little bit like you had to open the paint every time you wanted to change color when you're painting your masterpiece of content.
Right.
But now you have a full palette all ready for you, Bob Ross style. So you can look at what's available and you can do it right off the bat. Plus tables. So if you're an internal communicator, you have to share a table of information. Doing that before was very, labor intensive, but here it's a lot more like you're used to. So all of that though came from suggestions from our customers where they were telling us, I really would like to do this and I really would like to do that. And we were able to organize that and say, when we're touching this again, what could we do to satisfy people's need to tell a great story? And so those are some things that we added to this version.
Absolutely. And I know we've already heard a lot of praise about this, so we're excited to be able to show you that. Now, one of the things that not only we've done here with the content manager, but again, the story page. So I know that was one of your major projects that you were working on with Sam, our lead product designer. So let's talk a little bit about the new story page.
So yeah, we took a lot of Sam and I, who are very close collaborators and big fans of beautiful design, we worked together and looked at all of our favorite publishing sites. What do they do really well? What makes their stories sticky and make people want to read them all the way to the end? And what makes them beautiful? And one that we really, really liked, if you haven't looked at it before, is Medium. So we looked at what Medium does really well on stories, and that kind of informed what we did here. So Maddie will pull this one up and I'll show you a little bit of a tour. First thing at the top is that we wanted to give people a lot of opportunities to connect with you on the content archive side. Since Maddie subscribed to this Cerkl, if she wasn't, more stories would actually be a subscribe button, which is really cool. So that
I can do that.
Yeah. Oh, are you gonna go incognito?
Yes, I am.
She's put her hat and sunglasses on. She's gonna show us around. So if you are not a subscriber of the Cerkl, and I think growing your list is something that everybody would like to do if they're in external marketing, that button takes you to subscribe. All of your other calls to action on the page will take you to the content archive, your logo, all that stuff. So that's really cool, and it gives you another place to showcase all that beautiful content that you publish. And I know you guys are big fans of the content archive. and I totally get it. I love the organization of it.
Absolutely.
So back on the story page side of things, images were always a bit of a challenge, and I think
they were the worst.
I know. And as somebody who's been doing websites for a long time, nobody really has it exactly perfectly right. There are hundreds of screen sizes that you're designing images for. So we wanted to give you the flexibility to add the image size that you want to, but also be beautiful no matter what. So this style that we created works on all screens. We tested it. It's beautiful. You've got a nice, great showcase for your headline. The headline kind of pops off the page. And then your summary, which used in your newsletter and here gives you a little bit more flexibility to tell your story, publish date. Now, Maddie's screen's a little bit smaller than average because Mac hates screen size. I personally like to rock a 17-inch laptop, but if she was on a bigger screen, that would be a lot like Eventbrite, where the event details were outside the line, and that's something that people really liked. But on a mobile experience, it slides right in, just like you're seeing on Maddie's screen.
Right, so you don't miss that call to action, right?
Exactly.
What do you want people to do for a specific event? You want them to register,
yes,
right?
Ultimately, you do want them to register. And then your font selection that you would have chose on the other side would be showcased here in the story body. And then down at the bottom, you have a couple more options for your readers. Now, if they're logged in, they can add those categories to their interests, but those are the highlighted interests that they're interested in for your users. And then, of course, another way for them to see more stories from you, which can increase your page views and all that. And then we added Apply to the bottom. Now, before you might have noticed that Apply Web Personalization, which you can put on your site, was on the sidebar. But now we put it at the bottom a little bit more in line with the story experiences that people are used to. I think that I love it because it's very modern, it's very bright, it's very readable, and it's very clean. And so I think that our users will like it.
Absolutely. And of course, comments, those are still down there at the bottom. I know it's specifically our external communicators, they use this a lot. So if they have people they're communicating with and asking them engaging questions. I know a lot of our clients use this too, so that's still there for you. Alrighty, awesome. Well, I think that the new story page is beautiful. I love all of your hard work.
Thanks.
I'm also a little biased because we're friends.
We're all pretty big fans of each other around here.
Sometimes. All right, so we will head back to the deck over here because I want to talk about our product roadmap. So that's one of the things that I get questions on, on probably a weekly basis is, hey, what's coming up? And I love that question. And I will say when I started in the customer success director role about a year and a half ago, we weren't getting questions like that. So that tells me that they are excited and they know that we are constantly updating. So that gives me, a good feeling inside and really allows us to provide you guys some updated information. And that's why I wanted to take a moment to touch on the product roadmap because it is important for you guys to know what's coming next and why we're making those decisions. So giving any insight on that?
I mean, first of all, yes, I agree with you completely. Like, it shows that you have skin in the game, that you care, that you're a fan of ours, and that you see us as the right solution for you to continue, growing your engagement. And I really love that people are so passionate about our product. It gives me immense pleasure.
Absolutely. So here, what you'll notice, we have this little roadmap sign letting you know that some of the things we recently have pushed out. Number one was the content creator, which we kind of took you through that here with the updated fonts and the table and things of that nature. We also recently did audience manager. So those of you who were not a part of our last webinar with good old Squawk from our tech team, we went ahead and updated this portion of the platform. Before it was, still had some of the same information, but now you can utilize a universal search bar. So let's see if I want to search my name. I can see the subscriber. You can see where they live within the platform. So have they unsubscribed? Have they been blocked? Have they been bounced? This is something that we didn't have functionality for before. So you were searching through all the different tabs.
Right.
And I remember those search days and having people say, hey, I can't find this person. I'm like, oh, they're just not, they've been bounced. Their email bounced, right? Another really cool thing is we're providing under Audience Manager some important information about your audience so you can quickly find it. When was their last newsletter? And what is their current delivery setting? And what are their top 5 interests? Those are important for you guys to have access to at a moment's notice. So those are the two most recent features or major releases. Again, we're pushing to production upwards of 4 times a month. So there's a lot more that goes into it than this, but these are the major ones that you guys would notice within the platform. So next we are looking at settings.
Right, and so that's going to be a new way of organizing all the things that you can do in Cerkl. We didn't just arbitrarily pick these things. What we're looking at is how are you using the platform, what's the most important thing, what actions are you trying to take daily, and we're trying to reduce the number of clicks it takes to get you to your goals. Ultimately, that's what this organization project is about. So what's exciting about settings is that maybe you'll learn something new about the platform, or maybe we will help you solve a challenge easier. But I think that ultimately it's going to be more aligned with experiences you're used to in your social media accounts and content management systems. We don't want to have to teach you a new language. We want to speak your language always.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, we're collecting all that data from you guys when you're asking those questions on the chatbot, and or you're asking anyone that you speak to at Cerkl. Those are things that we're tracking, and we're trying to make sure that we're logging your specific concerns or praises, so we know what can we do better, what do you like, what can we update, all of that.
You know what? I messed up, because settings is really more about how your Cerkl is set up.
Yeah.
So we're reorganizing that information, trying to make things match, make it a little bit easier to make your branding beautiful. We're adding a favicon option.
I know, I'm so excited about that.
So like that little, can you hover over favicon? Look at these little cute guys.
So favicons up here in the corner of your web browser. So you'll see up here, have a little favicon in the little tab. So you can see Gmails, this is Google. So right now, if you were to look at, if I was logged into another account, it's just a little newspaper. So it's just a generic one. Before it was Cerkl, that was something that we changed because we had heard, again, from our current clients that they wanted something else there that it wasn't attributing to Cerkl, which we absolutely understand. That's your content, right? So we took that off. In this case, this is a Cerkl, so we keep it as our favicon. But we're now updating that feature so you can have your own, which is really cool, because a lot of people creating content in their Cerkl account, they know the pain of like having to find it from a blog or wherever. Now you can have it be your brand. It's your content.
It really extends the reach of your brand and helps you be more consistent across all your channels, which is what we're looking for. We'll be adding a couple of other things too, but I think what you'll like about settings is that it'll be more organized, that the decisions that you'll need to make in settings, what you've done now is perfectly fine, but what you'll need to do in the future will be a lot easier for you to digest.
Absolutely.
And so site navigation is what I talked about earlier, where we're just reorganizing what's displayed where on the site, and so everything's being brought together to make it a lot easier, a lot less buried for those things that you want to do.
Yeah, and I from my understanding and seeing some of the mock-ups you guys have been working on, the settings piece, it will be more or less coupled with the site navigation, right? Like that's when like the big bang is going to come out, like, hey, this is going to be a major release together, the two of them.
So settings goes out and then site navigation, but settings is a piece of site navigation.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's like, all into one.
Yes. Awesome. So up next, I think there are a lot of people that are going to be excited about dedicated email.
Absolutely.
So I have to tell you that what we're doing with dedicated email is something that is unlike what anyone else is doing. We're really focusing on the usability, on the challenges that you're facing, and looking at how can we make this product the strongest possible, the quickest, the easiest way for you to do what you're trying to do with dedicated email. We're looking at the way that you've used it before, all the things that you've sent Maddie and her team about what you don't like about dedicated email, and bringing that all together into a solution that I think is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited to roll that out to you guys and get some additional feedback. So after dedicated email,
this thing is cool.
This is honestly, this is the dopest thing I think. Well, I can't say that we've ever done, because Cerkl in general is pretty cool.
That's true.
It's something, because we've been on meetings about this for months now.
Right.
This is going to be a game changer for what we're doing.
And she is not overhyping, because
I cannot overhype enough.
Yes. So user dashboard, just to give you a brief idea, this is going to be like your Cerkl sensei. Every time that you log in, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to increase whatever goal, like whatever your goal measures are. Every time you log in, it's going to tell you things that you could be doing to get to your goals faster. And once you reach those goals, we got more goals on backup, and every time it's going to tell you where everything stands. It's beautiful, it's simple, and it's unlike anything else that you've ever used before. It really will change the way that, or I think it will, I don't know if it'll change the way they use it.
I think in a good way it will, because
Right.
the whole basis of this project is our success team and the rest of the team, if you're working with other people throughout Cerkl, how do we scale those one-on-one phone calls, because those are so valuable. When I have a moment to sit down with a client and say, all right, what are you guys working on today? What other external campaigns are you working on, and how can I help you optimize those? So it's almost like a planning session, right? So we have all these quarterly insights calls with our clients, but I can only do so many, right? So how do we scale that? And that's kind of like what this is, like within technology, like all automatically provided for you. So it's like the smarts of every Cerkl person plus other things that we're learning along the way,
Right.
and just there for you.
Yeah.
So I don't know,
And I think
it's
that,
really awesome.
and I'm a DIY kind of gal, so I think of another way,
Yeah, absolutely.
like for your DIY brothers and sisters out there, like what insights could you have that you didn't even know to look for?
Right.
So we're layering the machine learning, we're layering the data with the Maddie smarts, with all the teammate smarts all together. It is it's a really amazing thing. I really can't wait to share it with you guys.
Absolutely.
Do you want to pop the camera back on and see as we close out?
Perfect. All right, hopefully.
We're still us.
Yeah.
We should have switched places though. That would have been kind of funny.
Darn it. Next time, we're gonna do that next time. All right, so I know we are almost up on our time today. I want to be respectful of what you guys have going on. Hopefully we can get you out of here in a couple minutes to maybe go run and grab coffee before your next meeting. But I do want to take one quick question. The other questions that came through during the webinar, I will be sure to follow up with you guys on a one-on-one basis. But the big one here is, and I thought this was interesting, is there a use for comments on internal communicators? And I think it's a genius question. And I will say currently our internal comms clients, I don't think they, again, I wish I could scale myself and the rest of the team so we had the ability to talk to every person and say, hey, try this. Mm-hmm. So what would you say, working with a lot of internal comms people?
I think that depending on the type of article, I think that the employee feedback is valuable. I think that that's something that internal communicators struggle with. Internal communicators struggle with is that sometimes they're in their office and they want to know, they want a pulse of what the people think. So that commenting gives them the opportunity to hear what people think about the things that they publish.
Right.
So I don't see there being a downside for comments.
Yeah.
I'm very pro comments.
And as a communicator in general, the number one thing is end it with an insightful question to engage or evoke some type of response, right? Same thing here. Yeah. How can you do that on a daily basis when you're creating content to open those lines of communication?
Especially if there are things that you're looking to, if you're thinking about an acquisition or you're talking about, what the boss is thinking, or your strategic plan, things like that. I think those are wonderful opportunities for internal communicators to receive feedback and share with their leadership.
Yeah,
and that's another place that they have their value to be shown. Look I have my fingers on the pulse of what the staff thinks.
Even one other thing, it's a little bit more fluffy, but people love the emotional side of content coming from the higher up. So if there is an article that you're promoting on an employee's engagement or something that they've done really well, why not ask, hey, who of your peers have done something really cool? Because I can imagine myself putting a comment and saying, hey, because I know I'm not going to brag about myself, but I would want to brag about what Rachel's done. So things like that. So little tiny insightful questions. So I think comments can absolutely be used in internal comm space.
I believe so too.
All right. Well, I know you have some two talkers in the room right now. So the questions that we didn't get to, I promise we will follow up with you on those. Otherwise, as I mentioned before, we will be sending out a recording. So we are, again, excited for these new and upcoming features and excited to have Rachel here today. Thank you again, guys. I appreciate it, and have a good one.
Thank you.